Lunch was the worst part of school. I hated that.
That was my favorite part of school.
Oh. Why was that your favorite?
Because it was the only time you could eat.
It checks out. Yeah.
I never looked forward to that food. It was just so bad.
Did you bring your food, Taylor, or did you buy it?
It would switch off. It would depend. I'd go through big like phases where I was bringing it, and then I'd fall back into just like, all right, I'll get the lowest quality fucking chicken sandwich wrapped in foil for a couple weeks until I start to feel sick, and then I'll start bringing my lunch again. Like it should be elite
good.
How bad the quality of the food is in schools.
The breakfast was excellent. Though I guess like cheap breakfast is still good breakfast if you think about it. Biscuits, sausage, and grits. To me, I'm like, yeah, it's a good breakfast. That's the cheapest shit ever. It's the ground nasty eggs. Part of the pig. And it's like flour and water, right? Like so, it's the cheapest shit ever. But so breakfast would always be good at school. And when I had driver's ed or any class that was on the edge of the school, those teachers would be like, "Myers, you'll get us some breakfast." And I'm like, bacon, egg, and cheese, or what do you want here? You just go down the road and like get breakfast because there was restaurants nearby. But
that's nice.
That was post school shooting too. They would let us like bounce in and out. I remember after Columbine, it started being a thing where it was like you can't bring your guns to school anymore because it sounds crazy. But before then, lots of people would have their hunting rifles in their trucks outside in the parking lot because you'd go hunting in the morning. Didn't get one. You go to school like wearing there'd be a guy wearing his fucking like maybe not his whole camouflage get up, but his pants or whatever the party couldn't take off to school because he went hunting that morning. And
did he smell like deer urine?
You usually don't put the urine on yourself. It's
I've been doing it horribly wrong.
Yeah, you want to drink it. You want to drink and get it down.
Oh, never mind. I did it right.
Yeah, you got it. Or just eye drop it, and that works too. If you want to concentrate.
Where do you put the urine? I actually thought you masked your own body scent with it.
So that is how that gentleman got beaten half to death by that deer that time. And that video you probably seen.
The fact that he's a pussy.
That and he's a pussy, yes. Probably why the deer was so angry.
I'm sure.
So you put that on like a wick, and then you hang that from like a branch out over there, and that smells like a doe that's in heat, ready to breed. And then you usually correspond that with the audio of a doe. It's like this little grunt thing. Use a collar, and hopefully a buck hears that, smells that, comes in, takes the bait. But I never did that shit because I could shoot. So I just got up on a hill and I could see half a mile in every direction and just shot him. So
did you not do it because you thought it was not really sporting?
I didn't think it was required. I wasn't into being very sporting, to be honest. I killed a lot of deer.
What's the most, in your opinion, because you know how people will be like, oh, this guy went to Africa and killed a lion in a cage. That's not real hunting. Like, what is the absolute most you can do and still consider it hunting, in your view? Like the most assistance you can have.
I don't think that is.
So hypothetically, Taylor, if I go to Ukraine and drop some bombs via drone, is that still hunting?
No, that's war.
That's a war crime. No, that's war tourism. Which I don't think is a crime.
It shouldn't be.
I'm fun, but
I think what matters is, do you care about the distinction between hunting and shooting? And I never really have when it came to certain types of animals. So like with pigs, I look, my dogs, like, man, those are like people almost. And then like a cow, man, that cow's kind of cool. Knows how it runs over here when it sees me bring the sweet feet out in the bucket. Like he knows, man. But then like some animals, it's like, you're this close to a fucking cockroach. Like you're gone, buddy. Like I got nothing for you. Like the coyotes. Coyotes would come and they would like find a calf that was newborn and they would disembowel it alive and kill it in the night. And so you generate some hatred for those animals because and sort of stop thinking of them the same way you do dogs because they've got to go. You want them done. So like when you make their traps, you're like, yeah, put some barbed edges on it. Make sure it works. You're not trying to make a humane trap anymore. You're just making sure it works. So yeah, that changes. But if we're talking about hunting, I don't want to hunt anything really that can't hunt back. Like I've been thinking about going on a trip to shoot a bear with a bow, and or maybe a big cat with a bow. But I wouldn't want to kill anything else that wasn't a predator anymore unless it was for food. I was looking at how much it costs. I think that it costs more than I want it. Like It's not that I can't afford to shoot a bear. It's like, that's ridiculous. I
like
think
hundreds of dollars, or
That happens to me too.
it would cost about $35,000.
Oh wow!
what kind of bear are you? Like, are
A
you
grizzly
like
bear?
Okay.
I don't want. I mean, I want to because you'd have to. I want a body mount too. I'm counting a lot of things here, like transportation from where I'm going, moving the bear mounted here, and then the license to kill the bear. It's like 15 or 20 grand to get started.
How much for a polar bear?
I don't think they let you shoot those. But at my zoo,
are you some kind of snitch? I didn't ask you if I'm allowed to shoot a polar bear.
I'm telling you about Lenny at the zoo. He'll hook you up. Look, do you have any methamphetamine?
Obviously, I still have.
He loves the stuff.
I mean, you know, you're talking about
bear.
The money. Yeah. Here's a loophole. There's no way it costs any money at all to kill a grizzly bear in self-defense. There's no way. And once it's dead, it's dead. Like if it happens to attack you and you fear for your life and you happen to be filming a TikTok or whatever and you're like, he's coming right at me. And then bang, I bet you get off scot-free.
The proposition, well, I mean, how do I kill it though? Because the way I was going to kill it was going to be
still
up in it. No, not allowed to use those. I'm going to be using a bow. I'm using a bow and arrow, and I'm going to have
bow and arrow to kill a bear, a grizzly bear.
Yes. That
seems like the wrong tool for the job.
It's see, that's the thing.
Crossbow.
If you use a gun, it's not even scary. It's not even scary. I'd use such a gun that one shot would always kill it, and I just won't miss. I'll just do that, and the bear will die. Right. But if I use a bow, like Jesus, if I hit it and like, if I miss the lungs and the heart, will he come up this tree and get me? Do I need to have like a bunch of black powder pistols, like a pirate ready to be like, cocoon, 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 cocoon?
I mean, you make a good point. It's the same reason I exclusively hunt dragons with spears.
Yeah.
It's so funny you mentioned that because I would bring a spear because I want to be up in the tree with a spear in case he comes up at me. I want to be able to poke him back down, right? I don't want to be like taking my arrow out of a quiver and giving him a poke. I want to land.
Right? You know, you don't want to be out there looking silly.
No.
Go a step farther. Like don't climb up the tree at all. If you miss the bear, start jousting. Right?
I will need a shield bearer for this adventure.
Honestly,
I'm not playing favorites here. Either one of you
who wants to
are
bear
more than welcome. Yeah, you'll be my shield bearer.
So wait a minute, I give you the shield if we get in real trouble. This sounds horrible.
Yeah, you're hanging on to it until I need it.
I don't go in
dangerous. You better take this.
You're both of your guys' cardio is too good. I'm not going in the woods with you and on a bear.
It won't matter if the bear catches you in 3 seconds.
We need to bring someone a little slower. Yeah. Have you seen how quick they climb the trees? I feel like you miss once with a bow, it's going to be up there before you can get your fucking halberd, inverted, pointed at it. It can run up like a 30-foot tree in 2 seconds. It's like it runs up the tree.
Just to be clear, I have no active plans to go do this thing. I did look into it, saw it was expensive, and I was like, I don't want to do it that bad.
When you were saying that there might have been a raccoon situation, it reminded me of a bunch of my good friends were in one of the same fraternities in college, and it was this dilapidated piece of shit house. And they had a live-in raccoon, a wild raccoon. It wasn't meant to live there, but it broke into the attic and threw holes in the ceiling and like crawling around. And they called it Lil Hisser. And because it would come down and hiss at you. And one of my buddies says he was laying on the top bunk and it was only like a 7.5 foot ceiling. So he's got this much clearance between him and the ceiling as he's laying on his back. Yeah. There's a hole directly above him. And the way he tells it is that he thought he heard like whispering, like a little whisper. And he opened his eyes and he saw a raccoon in the dead of night staring down at him. And he jumps out and it rustles around a little more. And somehow it ends up in the hallway with like 4 in that period between drunk and hungover, like frat guys with brooms trying to fight and usher this guy out. Little Hisser, they said. And they said he was so difficult to get out of the house because they are sly and they're faster than us.
And they have hands.
Yeah. You try and poke it with a broomstick. Don't think so.
It just like takes it away. Now he's got a broomstick.
It's like a moody cat with fucking hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like real teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wild animal. So it's not going to get upset when you hurt it. It's just going to get angrier.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of experience with raccoons. Like there's plenty growing up like around me. People like to hunt them, which I always thought was kind of cruel. It's like, the whole way you hunt them is bullshit. They like chase them with dogs, and the dog trees them. It scares the thing till it climbs up in a tree, which is its defense mechanism. And they shoot it out of the tree, but not to kill, just to wound it enough so that now it has to fight the dogs to the death. It's like it's a huge thing.
Who's doing that? The only time I remember my
tons and tons of people. It's very popular.
My grandpa only went coon hunting like when he was complaining about like his garbage or like stuff getting rustled into by raccoons.
No, coon dogs and coon hunting is a big thing in the South.
I had a friend in off-roading
who
raised coon dogs. Apparently they were very good. But I didn't realize that. I guess I knew they treat them, and then I thought they shot them out of the tree. To wound them out of the tree and have the dogs kill them, it just seems like a mean step.
Are you sure they're not
the whole thing is
compensating
mean
for being a bad shot?
No, I'm positive that's the goal. The goal is to wound it so that it falls out of the tree and has to fight the dogs.
I told you when my grandpa killed a coon, and I was maybe 6 or 7, and he strung it up by the tail on a tree in his backyard, and he like cut around the asshole of it, and he was like, "Taylor, come here!" And like I was 6 or 7, and he goes, "Look at this!" And he grabs it with his big meaty Southern Missouri farmer hands, and in one pull, boom, like rolling a condom off, just, and it's just all the skin hanging from the wrists of it. I don't know what the hell he was doing with the meat.
It was dead, right?
Yeah.
It was dead.
We'll be sure.
Obviously dead.
We'll be sure.
Dude,
You think that's bad? Let me tell you what we do in Missouri.
Live. Look at him with those skin.
I feel like with fish and stuff, there's some weird shit. Like you boil alive crabs and lobster. I think.
Lobsters.
But that's not even necessary. Like there's no reason to do that. You can just kill them easily and put them out of their misery. I've always killed my lobsters before I boil them.
It's something about like premier freshness or whatever. You know, that's something.
With fish, I feel like they get tortured on their way down sometimes too. Like you could kill it on the boat, but no, we'll just keep it in like a really tiny container with a bunch of other ones.
Fish I don't give a shit about because I feel like fish are just like so fucking dumb. And like being in that tank of water, like the way that we keep fish alive is you run a string through in their mouth and like out the gills, and
wow,
and you like leave them in the body of water, so they're like down there fine, like in the pond or whatever you caught them in, and then you like pick them up by the string.
You got a giant string with 10 catfish on it, hopefully.
Yeah. And to kill them, you literally hit them in the head with like a little.
Oh, but wait,
like,
they're not happy in that water, in that little cooler you put them in. Like
I'm not running a fun camp for catfish here.
Right, that's the thing.
You're not keeping them in the cooler though. Like you take a string that's tied to it's usually tied to a tree by the pond or lake or whatever, and then you string it all through, and then you just until you're ready to clean them, you throw the big bundle of all tied up fish back into the lake. And it just hangs out in the lake. And then you grab when you're done and you pull them all out. And I remember my girlfriend, the first time she saw how you kill catfish. And it is, I've seen it 100 times. I've done it. It is a brutal.
It's a club.
You take a claw hammer and then you just boom right on the top of the head.
I used a bat.
Claw hammer seems to be, smaller.
The St. Louis boys use hammers, Kyle.
Yeah, using claw hammer
for all sorts of things.
No.
I was thinking more of the boat situation where you catch a fish and then you torture it in this little cooler where they slowly suffocate because it is not enough water for them. Runs out of
even
oxygen.
When we run it off boats, we still like keep the string so they're just hanging off the side.
Yeah.
Generally, and then you don't have
for catfish
of anything. But you should.
We do. I mean, we do that with everything, though. Like, although, like, I usually when we fish, we just throw them back in. We just catch and release all day.
Fish.
Like, almost only one time I think ever have we like caught fish to eat, and it was just kind of like I think it was like right when maybe some survival shows were starting to come out, like in the early 2000s, and my cousin and I were literally like, hey, let's catch our dinner tonight. Let's catch a fish, kill it, skin it, cook it. Let's make that our dinner.
Why wouldn't you eat what you catch?
We just throw them back into the pond.
It's like the sport of it. Yeah, it's just like a competition kind of deal. Like,
yeah, it's just fun to catch them.
Yeah,
and it was our pond that was like stocked with cat. You know, we bought the catfish and put them into the pond to begin with. We bought like 2,000 catfish that were like 6 or 8 inches long and put them in the pond, and then 5 years later you've got it's just so easy to catch them,
and they're enormous.
Yeah, my experience
like
different.
Dinosaurs. They just keep getting bigger.
So I would fish in the ocean. That's where I grew up. And we always ate what we caught. We go fishing or crabbing. And I'm not an experienced guy, but like, it'd be like, yes, Woody, the hunter-gatherer who looks forward to puberty has fed us all tonight. Like that was my thing.
Dude, I was the same way.
I imagine more like Kramer when he found those lobster pots and just stole all the lobster out of them.
They were just sitting there down by the beach. I always wanted to cook what I caught too. Well, I wouldn't cook it, but my grandma always had like a standing order where it's like, whatever you cook or whatever you catch, bring it in here. I'll fry it up for you right away. And it was like, and it's so fucking good. And so like every time I'd catch a catfish or a sunfish or whatever it was that was in there, it's just like, damn. And I remember as a kid trying to like wager with my grandpa where I'd be like, this one definitely has a couple bites on it, Grandpa. And he's like, it's too little. Throw that bitch back. And like, oh, I got to catch another one to get more meat. And like, but other times it was just a king's ransom of like enormous catfish. And you had fish all day. It's
fried catfish is really good.
Fried catfish is
it is so good.
Do you ever catch big ones like the noodling people catch?
Where you that's where you stick your hand under
logs and in like holes in the bank. Mm-hmm. So in my dad's pond, it's the same pond that like if you saw one of my videos, the one I'm like shooting guns into and like I blew a boat up in and all that nonsense. All of our like neighbors who would fish on Lake Hartwell, if they caught a really big catfish, they would bring it to us and put it in our pond. So there were like 50 to 80 pound catfish in our pond at one point. Wow. Massive catfish, like as long as your fucking leg, and their heads just literally as big as your whole face. Like their head is almost as big as a human head.
They're enormous
in there.
There's like a sweet spot of size for a catfish. Like if it gets too big, it starts to taste weird.
Yeah. We wouldn't eat anything that was over like 10 pounds. Like a 10-pound catfish is a really big catfish.
That's a huge fish. Yeah, and it's got a ton of meat on it. And like I think that's about where we topped out for catching. Or
we would eat like 6-pound catfish, like stuff like that. Like it's plenty of food to eat. Like it's not 6 pounds of meat. Like once you've cleaned it and done everything and cooked it, it's.
Did you ever have like bluegill in there too?
No, we just had catfish and brim. There was no I don't know what the correct is. It crappie or crappie?
I think it's crappie.
Yeah, there were none of those in there. Some of our neighbors had that stuff in their ponds, but we had all blue catfish and channel catfish and what we called mud cats, which were like a dark brown color.
Yeah. We had all kinds of those. Still do, I guess, in their ponds. But the bluegills, like those little fish, were like the only, you could hardly get any meat off of even a really big one, but it fries up like tastier than anything I've ever had in a restaurant. It's, you know what I'm talking about?
Bluegill before, yeah, it's super fucking good. They're usually pretty small though. I think they're like the size of maybe your hand. You know, that's.
Yeah. You get like one the size of your hand, or like that weighs like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. You're like, damn, that's a winner of a bluegill. That's huge.
There's something weird about NC where we have the biggest fucking catfish ever. I'm gonna send you guys a little article. This was this year actually. Just gigantic fucking catfish, about 80 pounds.
Wow.
52 inches. Yeah, they look almost like sharks.
That's huge.
So yeah, and that was this year. So
how old is that thing?
I don't know. How long do they live?
Dinosaur.
I feel like they can live forever. They're one of those like crocodile style animals. They just keep going.
Oh, interesting. They just get bigger and bigger, I guess.
A Wells catfish can live 60 years.
Holy shit.
That's unbelievable. It seems like if they get big enough that they just outgrow any predator other than us, they just kind of keep living until they're too big to even function or swim around.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge. 120 pounds, fucking 60 inches long. God damn.
Yeah, enormous. That's too big, though. It wouldn't taste very good.
No, that would taste like shit. That's the other thing. Like catfish are like the scavengers of freshwater bodies. They eat like everything that floats to the or sinks to the bottom of the water. They're eating all that rotten dead things. That's vultures.
Why you gotta fry them. Nobody would ever saute a fillet of catfish.
Only a smell.
Can you imagine? Oh, and this is something that people don't know. Like some people are like, "Oh, catfish is disgusting." And it's like, what you need to do is after you fillet it and clean it, you leave it for like an hour plus in ice cold salt water. and that'll leach out a lot of that
blood.
fish taste, or all the blood and the leach, and the kind of fishy taste of it, and it'll be 10 times better.
Don't they breathe do they breathe air, catfish? I feel like they can survive on the side of a lake, like in the dirt, for 10 hours or something.
They can survive up until the hammer comes out, and sometimes that's a long time.
We hit them a long time before 10 hours can transpire. But no, I know what you're talking about. I think there's some African catfish that does this thing because they have those.
All of them.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I know that's particular. There's that African catfish that because like in the dry season, the bodies of water shrink. They'll like hop over to like the next pond or whatever.
Oh, like the vestigial legs, that kind of.
Yeah,
I think so.
But yeah, that was a big part of growing up, was like fishing for catfish, but only like caught, killed, and ate one. That one time, and it did not end well.
Well, apparently, like with trout, like the oils on your, like if you don't wash your hands before you like unhook him, like the fish will like swim away and die. I don't know shit about that.
It burns
care.
them.
Let them die.
Yeah,
let them die. I don't fucking care. It's a fish. Like I'm out there with a big rod with a hook on it, yanking him out of the water. You think I give a shit?
I think
if he
that
dies?
would be bad for fish too. Yeah, like I always hear about like, oh, if you touch a fish, his skin gets sensitive or this. Really, you hooked him. You drug him by his mouth, and then getting that hook out is awful. In off-roading, they used to give us a ton of heat because the sediment stirred up by the tires would get into the water, make the water occasionally like cloudy or something for a little bit until it settled down.
Die.
Yeah, the trout fishermen were giving the off-roaders a hard time, and I'm like, bitch, 9 out of 10 trout prefer me to you, you fucking trout fisherman. Like,
I don't see the reason to be concerned about like, oh, if you handle the fish, it could die if you release it back in. I don't think that's true. I went fly fishing with a guy who made me do catch and release, which I was not happy about because the only point to fish to me is the same reason with hunting. You want to eat it, you want to use it, and he just said, dip your hands in water before you handle them, or otherwise it could burn their skin and be uncomfortable. Like, I don't think they're going to get in the water and all the other fish are like, oh my God, and he's like, help me. Like, no, I don't think that's it. But if you're going to fish, I don't think you should be doing catch and release anyway for the most part. Like, you should be eating them. Otherwise, it's just kind of torturous.
Although, like I catch and release with catfish because I would rather go eat someone else's. Like, I think the tasty catfish, are the little ones that are like maybe 8 inches long or something like that. And in my dad's pond, like, we would pull out 10 to 40 pound catfish, this big fucking monster catfish that like, I mean, if we filleted this thing and like fried him up, we'd need a giant fryer just to do it, or we got to cut him into slices.
And it wouldn't taste nearly as good because it's been around for probably like 30 years.
Vacuuming the bottom of a filthy pond, because that's what they do. Catfish are bottom feeding, like they're the buzzards, the vultures of the aquatic world.
And they'll get as huge as you let them get. Like, there are catfish out there that are like 55, 60 years old, even older, that are like, you'll see them pulling them out of a swamp in Louisiana, and it takes like 2 big country boys to like hold them out. Though, like, it's crazy.
We had such a great place to catfish growing up. My dad built that fish pond. He built 2 fish ponds, and the first thing he did was start stocking them. He purchased it's those big cubes, plastic cubes with the metal cage around it. It was one of those tanks, but it was just full of catfish. I remember he bought like 500 blue catfish and like 1,500 mud cats, and then just poured them into the pond. And they were all about this long when they went in. And then there was a neighbor who was like getting rid of his pond. He was going to turn that into dry land and make the pond just a creek now, so he had more land for cattle or something. And his pond was full of like adult catfish that were anywhere from 8 pounds to like 15 pounds, and then there were some that were bigger. So I got into the business of making catfish traps. I was making them by hand all day, made like 40 of these things, and threw them out there. A catfish trap is like chicken wire, shaped into a thing where they can swim in, they can't swim out, and there's like some sort of bait thrown in, and then you can tie a rope to it so you can drag it out of the pond. And we fished it until there were no catfish left, and we would get, like I said, piles and piles of these things that were 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and then all of our friends, when they would catch catfish out of the lake, we're near Lake Hartwell.
How big is your dad's pond? Like, how many fish does it need?
does it need?
Or can it even sustain? Like
we feed them. We at the time we would go and we would put you get catfish food in like a 50-pound bag and just throw it out there and it floats on top. So then you get to see them come up to the top and just sort of chomp, 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 chomp. And that was the fun part. That's how we would throw catfish food out and then throw our line. Because there would just be this feeding frenzy of catfish right here in this area. And you could bring them all. And they can hear and they're intelligent enough that after a while we trained them that if you've got a bucket with just some gravel in it and you go choo, 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 near the surface of the water, they would start plop, 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 like just biting at anything and come to you. But they had thousands of big catfish, and a few of them were 80 pounds or more. And then one day the dam broke, and they all washed down the creek.
Oh. Did you ever put anything but catfish in there, like bluegill? I don't know what the actual name of the fish is, but you know what a bluegill is.
No, I didn't. It was all catfish. It was all different kinds of catfish. Some of the people near us have ponds with bluegill in them and crappie. And
those things taste so good. Those are my favorite to catch.
Yeah, fixed the dam, but of course the fish were gone.
I mean, it seems like you could just put like 30 fish in weight, or 10 fish, or
I suppose so. But like, there's predators that feed on them. So there's these I don't know. They look like storks. Those eat the little baby fish when they spawn, and then these turtles that we get turtles that are just really big. I think they're like some of the other critters that just keep growing to like
a box turtle.
We call them loggerhead turtles.
Oh,
they've got big heads like this big, and they can snap a twig bigger than your thumb, just like right into. Like they legitimately look like they could take a pinky off when they snap. And we'd catch those out of there sometimes, and we'd get them out because they also eat the catfish. We would catch catfish that had chunks taken out of their tails and stuff. But that pond doesn't have any fish in it at this point. And I mean, over the last couple of years, I've set off so many explosions in there and shot so much machine gun fire in there that probably affected things a bit as well.
Probably. Their ecosystem probably doesn't naturally acclimate to tannerite.
And lead.
And chunks of metal.
Yeah, chunks of lead.
Yeah, we blew up a boat in there one time. That was a fucking, yeah.
I was thinking about your meat smoking the other day, and I have a suggestion. Why don't you kill yourself an animal this winter and smoke it? Like, why don't you kill? I don't know what there is in St. Louis besides deer. Like, smoked venison's probably a good thing,
deer.
but like maybe there's
deer.
pigs
There's
there.
Homeless. They're probably gamey.
I don't know.
They're probably gaming. Oh,
they probably are. They're running around all the time. They've got sinewy muscles. I want like a veal homeless guy, a guy who's stuck in his spot. He's not moving.
It sounds kind of shitty, but I haven't thought about that before. Like,
what
if you shoot a baby deer, is that tastier?
It could be. I'll try.
Is that the veal of deer?
I haven't killed a deer in like 7 years.
If anything, they'd be more gamey, right?
I always heard that the thing that makes them gamey is the rush of adrenaline from the you've hit them and then they're running away. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's more of a lean to fat meat ratio, if I had to guess.
Okay, it's an interesting. That makes sense too, because I've heard rabbit and it can be very gamey.
Right. Yeah.
The lean and they're incredibly lean, so maybe that's it. I always liked venison. We would eat cube steak, tons of jerky, and more. And that's about it. That's about all we ever did. Because ground venison is so lean that you need to add some other fat to it, and it's like that's a burger with extra steps. Like, what are you doing?
Right. Steak out of like backstrap and tenderloin from deer is we went hunting one time and we shot it, walked it a few hundred feet over to where we were camped and made steak out of it there. Some of the best meat I've ever had. That stuff is so good.
It is,
and
good.
it's everybody's complaining about the price of meat.
I should kill a deer this year. That's a good idea.
I've asked this question before. It still bumps around in my head though. Can you save money by killing your own animals?
1,000%. Okay,
nowadays,
so depend. So if you process it yourself, you're printing money. You're a butcher now. If you want to go into business, like you're printing money now.
Is it hard, or do could someone figure it out in a deer or two?
To butcher?
I've seen.
I learned it in a day. I mean, it's not that bad.
So we would always pay. It's called getting them processed, and there's this smell that it's that blood smell. It's that metallic smell that's in those places, and you'd go in, there'll be dozens of deer upside down, drained out, and in various. It looks like a serial killer's there because some of them are like just split open, some of them are skinned, some of them have their heads cut off, like all kinds of horrific shit. And when you're 12, it's a little jarring because everybody's on hooks.
Yeah.
But if you do that yourself, and get because I think it's like $150 or something. I don't remember exactly. We did it rarely. Like we might kill dozens of deer in a year, but we get one deer processed so that because that's enough meat for all year because we're not living on the shit. We eat it occasionally.
I mean, anyone can like clean a deer badly. Like you could puncture an organ and all that. Like I would think that it comes down. Like, have you ever seen those tuna guys that with the super sharp knives, they're like super quick and like they're making what are clearly like practiced muscle memory, like trained strokes. Like if I don't want to go too far to the left or I'll leave meat here, this and that. Like that's what like a butcher. My grandpa was a butcher stomach before he died, and my grandpa could like process meat like nobody's business. Like it was his job. He was a butcher.
So like, do you have a weak stomach at all? Like if the dog like shits in the floor and you got to pick it up, does that ever make you gag? Is that the sort of thing that would make you gag? I'm asking Woody.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not anymore.
Yeah, shut up, Taylor.
That's happened.
So my experience with cleaning a deer, my dad, I don't know why, but he wanted to teach me at some point. And man, I was gagging, and there's the smell of he didn't pop the organs or entrails, but just the smell of a disemboweled deer, even if you don't break anything. I can't describe the smell. You just have to experience it yourself. It's not stink. It's just, man, I'm being bathed with a very gross aura of goo right now. And then, and the organs do not look good to look at. They're all gross and multicolored.
How many pounds of meat do you get from an average deer?
That's a Google search. I have no idea. We would get multiple like packages, like an arm full of meat, but I'm not even sure if we were keeping all the meat. I think we were asking for like specific cuts. So
if you're keeping all the stuff that's like maybe got some silver skin on it, you're probably at least 20 pounds?
Google says 52 pounds average.
That's a big
deer.
Many?
52.19 is what it says.
That is a huge deer. Okay.
That's a northern deer, right?
Oh, I did look for average, but I'll trust you on that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Our deer are just a little smaller down here.
I'm used to our little whitetail, our little cutie pies.
Make it 30 or something. 30 pounds of any other meat is really expensive. Like that's how much is 30 pounds of steak?
Well, filet mignon is like 25 to 27. It's $27.99 a pound for filet mignon here. Ground beef is about $8 to $11, depending on how fancy you want it to be. Okay. Sirloin steaks are like $12.
You're
looking over $700.
You're getting hundreds of dollars.
If you value it at $15 because it's venison, not filet mignon, then it's $300 worth, and that seems like a fair amount of money to save.
You could feed your family like that easily. You could like make that your meat.
I asked about this online, and they're like, no, you don't really save money. Like you can kid yourself, you can lie to yourself, like you save money catching fish, but you don't. The cheapest fish are at the stores. What you spend in rods and boats and this and that and the other thing.
That
so
okay, you don't need you need basic stuff to kill a deer. You don't need camouflage. You need a license.
You need a license, and you probably need like a deer gun. One that's wooden with a bolt action that costs $250, right? You can break even.
Man, that's not fun. You overkill. You America like judicial system that deer. You bring out like super long range gun, needlessly accurate. Sub him away.
I just want there to be 4
holes in that deer.
I just want there to be 4 smoking feet.
16 pounds of meat on it after I shoot it.
If I wanted to process thank me.
You take your bucket and just pick up the meat you want and go.
I stew meat.
It's like, can you save money? I bet you can. Do you save money? I bet it's rare. I bet the people who hunt deer are hobbyists, and they're dressed in their $600 uniform with their $45 potions and their $7,000. Well, I'm exaggerating. $700 guns. And
no, I feel you. It's a little bit of both. Right? I'm sure there's guys that go full hog. I know my fucking Dan Tanner, the guy who invented Tannerite up there in the Northeast, wherever. He goes out on a hike and kills an elk and like packs up the meat like 100 pounds at a time or something and packs it back home and then comes back for more in mountain lion territory. And it's like, that dude's doing it for real, and he's a millionaire.
Yeah, he's just in it for the love of the game.
Yeah, he's one of the more interesting people I ever met. That when we went up to his little man cave, and he had a Barrett 50 cal with a suppressor on it that aimed out of double swing windows at a bear feeder. Like, this, you've got it figured out. You can get up. He's drunk playing pool, and he's ready to shoot Yogi with a Barrett. And
that's like just not very sporting.
His wife just had given birth. His wife gave birth the day before, but he'd already invited us on this trip, and we had driven from Georgia to the other corner of the United States, and he was kind enough to see us, even though brand new baby. The mother-in-law is there, and she's like, "You're out there with your friends," because that's what she sees. She's like, "This is a newborn baby. You can't even have strangers around it in the house. It's it's a brand new baby."
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
meanwhile, he's at the oven with a frying pan. You guys want any placenta?
He invited us in. Oh my God! Are you joking? Have I told you about the placenta joking. Already? But he had the placenta right there. He had I swear to God, he had the placenta in a garbage bag in the back of his truck. You know how guys hang around in the back of a pickup truck, kind of hanging over the rail and everybody leaning on it. And shit,
not even like a Pyrex or something.
It was no, he's using his bear bait that night. He's using afterbirth and placenta or whatever as bear bait. Which I was like, won't that give him a taste for human flesh? And he's like, they're not going to survive. They won't live long enough to tell the tale of human flesh.
Meanwhile, there's a fucking placenta loaded with tannerite and a feeder. I'm saying this isn't sporting, but
no, he was a real guy. We set off he gave, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds he gave me to like shoot off at once. We just filled up a giant drum of it. It's probably in the video title. Let's call it 300 pounds. But it shattered all these windows out of this fairly nice cabin that was obviously within earshot away. And I didn't feel responsible because I'd been invited to this mountaintop to do this thing. It's like, I'm like, hey, could we shoot a video where we shoot a bunch of tannerite? Obviously, it's essentially free to you. You create it right here. And yeah, absolutely. We'll go up here and okay. I didn't set all this up. They did. So I didn't feel responsible for it. And I was like, I don't feel responsible for it, but someone should be. And I think Dan may have paid for those windows because that shit wasn't on me.
It was on him.
That was on him.
You are describing a mythical person. This is insane.
He's also
a skinwalker.
No, he's a real nice. He's a big man too. I would call him 6'4", 245, 250, and powerful. Like a very physically imposing guy.
Out of 10.
What do you mean?
Out of 10, attractive.
Oh, I honestly can't picture his face if I'm being honest at the moment.
That's not really what I'm looking at anyway.
So definitely not.
It was covered in all the bear bits.
Did he have a belly?
Fit guy, fit guy.
Bro,
fit guy.
The picture of a guy with a 50 cal pointed at a bear feeder.
Is he looking for a 49-year-old male sugar baby? Just asking for a friend.
I don't know.
This is funnier in my head because I'm imagining the 50 cal like 30 yards from where
it was. No, 100%. It was.
Really?
That's exactly what it was. It was right there in the front yard where it was aimed at. Like it wasn't. It was close enough that you could have done it with a bow. Like
hit it with a rock.
He was baiting bears into the yard.
The game warden has nightmares about this man.
He was like, we were like up on a mountain past security gate.
Oh, I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to do it. I'm saying they hate him for it. Absolutely.
There's placenta on there. Better check out the Johnson place.
I did manage to get a deer with my friends this year. So this year I do have my little hunter's license. So
what did you killed it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I spotted
we all kill animals out here
on
ourselves.
the rifle.
You shot it with the rifle?
I was the spotter for my buddy who was mounted on the gun and took the shot. So I got to share in the spoils. No, it's not if you do it at a reasonable range. We were setting up a challenge for ourselves we have a friend who has a lot of property, and it was across 2 hillsides. So we how do I say this on the internet? Conveniently came across one that was located on the other hillside, and then so we did the whole dope measurements and everything like that to try to nail the shot, and we got it in one shot. So I was very happy with that. So I swear I do not tell tales outside of school. This is 100% honest. I do long range shooting, 753 yards.
Yeah,
it's like a battlefield sniper headshot.
6.5 Creedmoor out of a Ruger precision rifle. So
that's cool.
So you killed it, and then you like have 2 miles to walk.
No, it's not that far, and we also I was on the shooter side of it, so I did my work. Someone else went and carried that thing for me.
Okay, then that's a good deal.
I just set up there with my little spotting scope. I'm like, I'm like 2 mils, whatever, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. I'm ready for dinner. Where's the steak?
One of the most fun times I had hunting, I was like, it was the first time I went dove hunting. I was like 8 or 9.
Dove hunting.
Dove hunting, yeah, and it was like it wasn't like normal dove hunting, like you just go out. It was like the field like event thing where you like go to a field and they stock it, and like I'm 8-9 years old, so I've like shot clays with a shotgun for a while, but that's about the extent of it. And like, you couldn't miss. Like the dog would run up and scare a bush, and it would just be like the arrows in 300 levels of doves. Where like I genuinely wasn't aiming. I was just swinging the little 20 gauge I had up there, just pow pow. It was an over under, and then every so often 1 or 2 would fall. It was great. It was so much fun, and I didn't get that it was like a stocked area because I was a child. But I remember like at the time being like, yeah. I'm an excellent hunter. I'm an excellent hunter. Just firing into a cloud of birds.
Dude, that's how Harley was ambushing a flock of pheasants at 12 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I wasn't ambushing the symbol of peace. The worldwide.
That's fair.
Well, you think that like you have like the idea of doves in your head before you go, especially as a kid, and it's like those white, pure, beautiful doves. Then you see a real dove, and it's like, oh, this like, oh, so the dove,
this
like
dove ain't white. Kill it.
Is just marketing. Oh, they're all dirty gray like pigeons.
Ugh.
They are. Yeah, they all look dirty.
The white ones are just bred for selling in TV.
Yeah, for soap. They taste tremendous.
For soap.
For soap.
I would like to try dove.
It's
at
good.
your house.
And
prepared by you.
Well, you can. It takes 2 seconds to clean it because it's such a tiny little animal. You just grab you take your finger on both sides and just pop it like you're breaking its spine, and you just force the breast meat out. Then you just rip it. It is the easiest animal to clean ever, and you look kind of cool while you're doing it because you're just like Kali Ma, ripping.
Yeah. So like
I did that with turtles.
They're so fragile. They're so fragile that like if you tried to like tear a dog's leg off, it just wouldn't work. For one thing, he'd bite you at some point. But if you like reach into a dove's chest and just pull its entire breast meat out, it'll just come right out. Like you can do that with your bare hands. You can
the dove doesn't even care. It's
squishy.
Oh, it hates it. It hates it.
Ideally,
and they never fly again. But
wait, the dove hates it.
Yeah, they hate it.
Yeah, bro.
I never fly.
Imagine so.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard a dove scream?
But then the breast meat grows back, and the next year you pluck it again.
No, I get it.
No, you shoot them, and then then you like pull the meat off. But what you have is you have this little like breast, like cutlet thing, like it looks like a chicken, but obviously incredibly tiny. And you put cream cheese in the middle and wrap it in bacon with a toothpick and grill those things. Are really, really fucking good. Quail is good like that.
Sounds amazing.
You need a lot of them, though. Like, if you're going to eat a meal of dove,
it's like hot wings.
You need like 11, 12 doves.
It's just like hot wings. Yeah, you need 10 or 15 or something if you're hungry. Especially like we would sit there and like eat a dozen of them and like drink beer, and they're just so fucking good.
I bet they're pretty good for you, like macro wise. It's really lean.
It's really lean. There's like no fat in there. It's one of those things that like you probably couldn't even survive on if that was your.
Yeah, I was reading something about that. It's called like rabbit starvation, where you could have like if you're in the wild, like you're Les Stroud or whatever. Even if you had unlimited rabbit meat, you could still starve to death because there's not enough fat in there to sustain you, and your body can't survive on protein forever.
So I actually just did I say just did. It was like last month. I did a video on Chris McCandles. He tried to be a survivalist in Alaska. One of the lead theories is he died of rabbit starvation. Yeah, that guy. One of the lead theories is he died of rabbit starvation. So
what else did you...
You go hunting all these rabbits, cook all these rabbits, eat all these rabbits, and still die?
Yeah.
I would just be like, kill me. Let's just skip to death.
Well, I mean, I've heard people say that. I've heard people say that about a lot of food. I was unaware that there was a term for that, but like whenever I was eating ramen when I was in prison and shit, people would say like, that's technically not food, right? Like you couldn't eat just that and live. It just makes you not hungry. Like, is that a similar thing?
It's good you had some guys looking out for your nutrition.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, I used to do drugs that'd kill me immediately. Shut up. Get off my back.
I did.
Is that the same thing? I mean, like, there's just
I'm sure it is.
Where hypothetically, you can't eat just that.
Like you couldn't. It would be hard to pick a food that you could survive on. Like I bet potatoes. For some reason, I bet you could live a long time eating nothing but potatoes.
It's because you watched The Martian.
Oh, yep, you're right. It's because I watched The Martian.
But you can't. You need vitamins and minerals, right? Like at some point, you're gonna like run out of some vitamin and mineral. And like it's going to become a problem. Like even if it doesn't like
deficiency,
it's not like maybe we could live without like that, but like that leads to some disease or something. I just don't think you can
scurvy, for example.
Scurvy is a great example. You need that vitamin C.
Like, no vitamin C, you get scurvy. Simple as that.
You can survive a really long time on potatoes compared to other food sources. The main reason being it has a lot of like mineral supplements and it has all the amino acids needed for your body to put together its own proteins. The issue you run into, like Kyle said, is a vitamin deficiency, but that won't kill you until like a few years. The only real time that we have proof historically is like in Ireland, like right before the potato famine, where there were families who exclusively lived on potatoes for years. That's the only time people have really died from like exclusively eating potatoes.
Imagine that. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
They went so long eating nothing but potatoes that they died. Like
what a terrible life.
That might be the worst death I've ever heard of. Like I choose death by
tater tot.
Shannon, what's for dinner? What the fuck do you think's for dinner?
That would take me though. It would take me 4 years. Like I would literally be like I love potatoes. I like if we're like I mean, you boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Many ways to consume these potatoes. I would be like literally like day 1,288. I'm kind of getting tired of potatoes now.
Then I remember breakfast potatoes, and I'm back
scientists. There's scientists studying you. Like I don't fucking understand it either. Bobby's had nothing but tater tots.
I love potatoes.
He only eats poutine.
If you only have one form of potatoes, rest of your
life, hold up.
One form.
Whoa, you're getting crazy with this question already.
I was thinking about this just now.
Offensive.
I'm going breakfast potatoes, the most underrated kind of potato. You get some rosemary, little peppers on there. It's good.
Some onions in there.
Onions.
I want you to know that breakfast potatoes are not underrated where I'm from in Montreal. It literally makes or breaks all breakfast restaurants. Like if you're not giving a nice helping of potatoes and good potatoes, your breakfast restaurant is fucked.
I want onions in there. I want there to be like a little bit of char on there, and it needs to be I want to notice that you've hand chopped those fuckers. Like
those are so good.
Inconsistencies in the size.
As a Tennessee boy, do sweet potatoes count?
Yeah.
You don't get both.
You choose sweet potatoes as your only potato,
but I like sweet potatoes.
Yes, easily. Sweet potato casserole, bro. Easily.
I think you're so different to me now in my brain and how I think. Of I'm like, I don't even know how to like. I thought I had you figured out for a second. Now I'm like,
sweet potatoes are very good.
Sweet potatoes.
There's no way I could pick any form of sweet potatoes. I can't. I wouldn't be able to pick sweet potato in all variations. I would rather have one variation of a normal potato than all variations of sweet potato for my lifetime.
All right. How many people in this group right now are from Appalachia?
No.
Mississippi.
Okay, that's what I thought, which is why I'm the only one that's right, because I'm the only one who understands how important
we need to take
sweet
a
potatoes
page
are.
Out of Appalachia's
There you go.
What flavor moonshine do you prefer to go blind on?
I honestly, if I chose,
know people that's happened to.
I don't honestly. If I chose anything else,
Billy's.
like I'm sure after a year, I'd be like, I fucked up. I think I
Yeah,
got to play it
after a year.
straight. I got to play it straight and safe. I got to be
Yeah.
like French fries. Like I
You know
really
what?
got to be like French fries. Because I agree. I love breakfast potatoes,
Mhm.
but I think at a certain point I'll be like, I fucked up. And then it's also like chips too. Even
Can
chips.
I cheat?
Oh,
Can I
chips
just-
are
Yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah, that's
What
a
if-
good fries are a good answer.
What if I say baked potato and then I can do stuff to it to make it other potatoes?
Like you mean get a baked potato and then you mash it
Yeah.
up?
yeah.
I like that way of thinking.
See,
I also
no.
That's what I was thinking.
No.
I was thinking French fries are
Yeah.
super versatile. You can add anything to
they're on
it.
the-
Same.
They're on the
No.
other side of that one way or that two-way mirror. They're like, holy fucking shit, he's cracked it, boys. He's in there
It's
mashing
like 9
it
other
up.
types of potato. He made mashed potatoes out of a baked potato.
Who gave him the fork? Did he ask for it? I knew it.
It is not an answer to say, what if I bake a potato and then I cut it into small pieces and then put rosemary on it and then bake
That's
it
my
again?
next step.
What if
We're
I
gonna
mash
slice
it and then put, and then what if I bake it and then I
Alright,
scallop it
All
and then I
right,
throw it in the
fine,
pan?
fine. If we
I
can play
approve
that
of
game,
the
then I want
loophole. I
one
think he
potato
figured it
so
out.
I can start a potato garden, and then
All
I'll grow
I'm
several
saying-
potatoes. I can do whatever. I
Raw. Oh,
want
he
with
chose
it.
potato raw. He chose raw
None of you are
potato.
understanding this question.
That was the smartest move. The 400 IQ play.
You
I'm
gotta- you gotta
choosing
pick
raw.
one-
Then I can do whatever the fuck I want.
One mode of
No.
it. Kyle, are
No.
you going mushed or are you going baked?
I am choosing for them to deliver to me a baked potato, and the way I consume that potato is up to me.
That's the whole
Damn
fucking
right.
question.
I know it's the whole question. No, I will. No. I won't ruin the fucking question. I think if you have to eat them forever, it might need to be those breakfast potatoes because they
Yeah.
strike a nice balance between like French fries and like baked potato and everything
Mhm.
else. They're not fried.
It's a
they're
good
kind
fusion.
they're kind of. And
Yeah.
I like
You
them with,
get
like,
a few of those on your fork with
What do
a
you
little
call
bit
those?
of egg on
I mean,
there.
obviously they're breakfast potatoes, but there's something. Anyway, I
Scallop
like them.
potatoes, right?
Well, I think of scallop potatoes as the
Home-
ones with
home
cheese
fries,
that
yeah,
are,
sorry,
that are
home
like, they're like
fries, Mike.
layered
Yeah,
in
me
a
too.
casserole and baked.
I put
Yeah, that's
how I
scallops
think of it
pretty
too.
low on the totem pole of potato. I don't like.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Like if I were given the
It's
option,
good,
of scallop
though. I
potatoes,
like 'em,
there's
but-
like,
It's a specialty.
there's like
it's
six
a nice,
different
it's a
types
nice
of potatoes
treat.
I'd pick over that.